In this video, I'll show you the 11 ways to make something look heavy, and it's in my book, Ellen's Guide to Rhythm and Motion on Amazon, and please remember to subscribe. An easy way to make something look heavy is to give it a dark shadow. This hippo looks like he's floating or made of paper because he has no shadow. This one has a strong shadow suggesting that he's blocking a lot of light and physically pressing onto the surface. And a dark shadow, weirdly enough, is better than a light shadow. We interpret it as weight, even though the degree of darkness of the shadow is controlled by the lighting, not the weight. We don't just see the shadow as an absence of light, we see it as a foundation of the mass. In foreshortening, we make part of the object closest to us the largest. So it mimics how we perceive massive objects in real life. By making the tire dominate the frame, the artist forces the viewer to look up at it, and this triggers a sense of intimidation. In contrast to foreshortening, which makes something look heavy, a side view makes something look flat because we don't see the depth. By placing the camera low and looking up in a worm's eye view, we've achieved several things. For one thing, the figure looks dominant because he's looking down at us. And then he's compared to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So he inherits the weight and permanence of this massive stone structure. Now, similar to the worm's eye view, when something or somebody is angled towards us, it uses gravity against the viewer. And when we see this heavy, dark geometric figure leaning forward, it creates tension and a threat of weight as if it's about to fall. These two pictures use exaggeration to show that something is heavy. In the first one, we have a huge boulder compared to the small man, telling us that it can't be moved. And the man is leaning his entire body into the rock, indicating that he's using all his force. In the second one, the huge pile of boxes imply great weight. A sixth and very important way to show that something is heavy is to show the effects of gravity. So in the real world, materials like steel only bend under extreme pressure. So by drawing the rod curved, the artist is showing us the force of gravity in action. We can see what the weight is doing to the object. The weight of a large person can be emphasized by having the stool legs bow out. But if you have them curve in and upward, the stool looks springy. It suggests an upward force, making the person look like they're barely touching the seat, as if they're extremely light. A mitt curving up looks like it's ready to catch the ball, and the ball feels like it has significant downward momentum. But when the mitt curves down, it looks like it's pushing away, arching against the ball, so the ball starts to look like it's floating. This cylinder looks extremely heavy because of how it deforms the surface, and the tabletop looks very weak and thin. To increase the weight, you could add cracks to the tabletop, you could add a shadow, or you can make the supporting blocks tilt slightly inward, suggesting that the weight is so immense that it's pulling the entire structure toward the center. This image is broken because we know this delicate plant can't hold this rock, and so we begin to wonder about the weight of the rock, and it looks like a piece of gray foam or paper instead. This image is more realistic, but it still feels weak. Even if this is a real stick that could technically hold the rock, it doesn't look like it can. So to change it, you could increase the diameter of the stick. You could show the stick as bowing down or digging into the ground, or you could add a second or a third stick to create redundancy and stability. A seventh way to make something look heavy is to use black rather than white. Dark values look like they're sinking or falling, whereas white values look like they're rising. And since black absorbs light, it feels dense and solid, whereas white reflects light, so it feels airy. Even though this truck is white, it has a feeling of heaviness due to the high value contrast with the background. So the silhouette is sharp, which makes it pop forward, and that makes it appear larger and heavier. And in addition, there's something called irradiation, where light is reflected from the truck and comes to our eyes, so the truck seems to expand outward. And then finally, there's the increased visual weight. Things that command the most attention often seem to be the most important or the heaviest. Let's look at these 4 trucks and see which one looks the heaviest. So the heaviest is the black one on a white background because it has high contrast, and so we see sharp edges. The second one would be black on black. Even though it is the same color as the first one, its lack of contrast makes it less heavy appearing than this first one. And then the third heaviest would be white on black. Even though the truck is white, placing it on a dark background creates a sharp silhouette, and it irradiates or expands against that dark background. And then the lightest one is the white truck on the white background, where its edges seem to bleed out. And this version feels the most ethereal or paper thin. A ninth way to make something look heavy is to have more contact points with the ground, like the many wheels here. The number of tires suggests how heavy the load is. And in addition, it gives it more visual weight. There's more detail here, making it more complex and presumably harder to move. And the 10th method is using hard versus soft edges. The hard edges contrast with the background, giving the truck substance, whereas soft edges lack contrast and makes it look ethereal. And finally, there's the color saturation. A saturated red-orange is the heaviest, and it contrasts with the blue sky, so it seems to pop forward. This is why many heavy construction equipment is painted in these highly saturated colors, so that we see it and we know that it's powerful and we have to get out of its way. The less saturated yellow doesn't feel as heavy, and the desaturated truck feels the lightest. So this is a summary of the 11 ways you can make a truck look heavy. I just started a new YouTube channel to teach art to kids 8 years old and up. And I go through some of the basics of art, hopefully in a fun way. And it's under Ellen's Art for Kids. And I have a book with the same name, Ellen's Art for Kids, on Amazon.